Well, this brings us rather nicely to Real Steel. A new movie out this week starring Mr. Huge Action and a couple of huge robots, right? And there's a scene in Real Steel, although actually it is arguable that even somebody as naive as me would have noticed this without the Morgan Spurlock movie, but it was interesting seeing it immediately after Morgan Spurlock. Story of Real Steel is that Huge Action is a guy who takes round robots and fights them in fairgrounds. Okay, that's what they do. It's the near future. I think it's meant to be 2020. He fights them in fairgrounds. Due to a strange plot contrivance, he has to be reunited with the son from whom he is estranged because the son has lost his mother, so the son has to come on the road with him. The son then discovers a robot in a junkyard that the son wants to put back together again. Mr. Huge Action says, don't be silly, you can't, it's an old junky robot, but the junky as in not that kind of junky.
It's got a few emotional problems.
Exactly, and he says, I can do it, and one of the way he does it is that he stays up all night fiddling around with it, powered by a soft drink that is... In the wake of the Morgan Spurlock movie, it was almost like every single can of it turned towards. It was not that soft drink that you're holding up. Okay. No, the one with with a doctor in the title. And in the wake of the Morgan Spurlock movie, it was literally like honk, 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 honk. Here is a massive amount of product placement. Anyway, here's a clip from Real Steel.
Ah, yeah, that's before your time. That's a Generation 1, the very first fighting bot. They wanted him to look like us. The more human, the better. Crazy how quick everything changed here. Put that in the cart.
What changed?
A good question. Boxing. Human boxing. It just faded.
Why?
Because the money moved on. I mean, people wanted more carnage, more show. You had the whole Brazilian underground, the Gracies, the Machados, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and 1,000 styles in between. Full-on ground and pound.
Look at this.
What's that?
I don't know.
Not bad. Good spot, kid. You still had human fighters, human bodies, so couldn't give the people what they really wanted. True, no-holds-barred violence. Oh. So, the next logical step, get the humans out of there and let the machines kill each other.
So essentially what you've got, that's the setup, okay? So there's father, son, they're estranged, they're together. He's found this old robot, gets it together, they go out, they go on the road, and the robots have boxing. It is exactly what the poster is. It is a film about big robots hitting each other. What was that robot toy thing? Was it called Rock'em Sock'em? You know, when you had two do you remember that?
Vaguely. When
you had two robots in a little fight, they both hit each other until one of their heads came off, right? It's like that.
I had Magic Robot, which you ask questions.
No, that's totally different. That was
and he pointed at you, said, what's the capital of
Sissy
Afghanistan?
Mayo had Magic Robot, and he went, ooh, the capital of Afghanistan was everybody else in the playground had Rock'em Sock'em robots that hit each other right, left, and then eventually one of their heads went up on a spring. Do you not remember that?
So the acquisition of knowledge is sissy.
Well, in the case of this particular discussion about Real Steel, yes. I mean, Real Steel is basically a film which says the acquisition of knowledge is not important other than to put robots together so that they can get into the ring and hit each other.
How did it work, though, Magic Robot? It's very clever. You'd point it at a question and it would spin round and point at the answer.
Yeah, it was a magnet, Simon. You turned the dial.
How did the magnet know which part?
Because you had to turn the dial. You turned the dial when you got the question, and that's how the magnet knew. So actually, it was possible to divine the answer by knowing which way you'd turn the dial.
That's the kind of robot that the Guardian likes, though, isn't it? Don't you think?
It's a Guardian reader's robot.
I'm surprised you don't like it. Really.
I see. So the Daily Star, Rock'em Sock'em, the Guardian, Magic Robot.
I'd have thought so.
Okay, fine. Well, this is the
Waitrose robot.
This isn't just robots hitting each other. This is Waitrose robots hitting each other. So anyway, it takes its lead from a Richard Matheson's short story, which I think which ended up also inspiring a Twilight Zone episode, although actually very little of that source remains. It's essentially robots in the ring hitting each other while father and son bond. Here's what I like about this film. You know, the whole problem with Transformers was that it was a robots hitting each other movie that was directed by somebody who basically seemed to have spent too much time directing Victoria's Secrets commercials and forgotten that what he was actually doing was a kids' movie about robots hitting each other, right? This is directed by Sean Levy, who's basically, it's a straightforward, hack director and a perfectly functional hack director who's looked at it and gone, no, it's a movie about robots hitting each other. And that's what it is. And this is the movie that Transformers could have been had it not been directed by Michael Bay, who did that completely inappropriate thing of attempting to up the age group of it. When it's Transformers, leave it alone. It is Transformers. It's basically robots hitting each other. With this, there is almost nothing other than robots hitting. I mean, here's the defining difference between this and Transformers, right? The key sound of Transformers being directed is whoa, eh? The key sound of this being directed is whoa, whoa, with occasional because there's an awful lot of schmaltz. There's an awful lot of long, lingering shots of Huge Action and the son, and his son, the character who plays son in the film, film, bonding. You know, they're sparking. They're not going to get on together, but then they do get on together. Then they fall out. Then they're going to get back on together. There is also one sequence. If you go and see the film, there is a sequence in which Hugh Jackman comes round to the house where the son is with the person who's with his surrogate mother, and he has a conversation with him about attempting to use the word sorry. It looked to me like half that conversation was shot in a completely different time frame. It seemed like the whole of Mr. Jackson's head, shape, body, hair, all totally changed. Everything. Tell me if it's only me. Go and see the film and tell me whether anybody else thought there was a honking, inserted conversation in the middle of that small scene. But other than that, because of what it is, because it is basically, it understands what it, I mean, you know, some of it looks like the flesh fair stuff from artificial intelligence, but of course it isn't, because it's not that grown up of a film. Some of it, you know, the robot, the Atom, has elements of Iron Giant, but it's not Iron Giant because it doesn't have any of that melancholia. The android philosophy perhaps alludes towards Blade Runner, but then of course it doesn't, because it's actually not about the robots, you know, becoming real people. It is about the robots being robots who hit each other in the ring, and meanwhile the son and the father bond. It is a movie aimed absolutely squarely at 8 to 12-year-old boys about, you know, robots going bang, bang, bang in a boxing ring, and it does it unashamedly. The other thing I should say is I saw it in IMAX, and I turned up just as the film was about to start, and the only seat that was available was in the front row.
My goodness.
And blimey, Charlie, did I get a sore neck seeing that massive... So the robots both rocked and socked as much as it is possible to do, but it did reinforce my belief that actually the future is IMAX rather than stereoscopy.